How much time are you how much time are you really capable of wasting before you waste all your time? All right, let's be real. Let's think about that real quick. Now, fast forward, actually, rewind to when I was shirtless in my kitchen this morning filming this random video that came out of inspiration, probably from God. Okay, because this is some of the craziest revelation I've received just accumulatively over the past couple of years and actually accumulatively over the past couple of weeks. I've never heard anybody talk about any of this on YouTube or anywhere on the online space. It's a literal life hack and a cheat code. All right, what are you trying to say, boy? You can say it. Okay. Well said. All right, get off. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Kodak. You're so good. You're so good. You know, there's been a couple things I've struggled with in my life. One of those things has been the struggle of distraction. For some reason, I'm always distracted and I have the hardest time staying focused no matter what. So it keeps me from doing things that are actually really good for me. Like when I've set a goal to, tell me how that happened. So for example, when I've set a goal to, paint a painting, or if I want to, accomplish something during the day, oftentimes I'm faced with distraction or the temptation of distraction. And that comes in many forms. It comes in the form of YouTube, Instagram Reels, TikTok. It comes in the form of many different things. And I guess it's all procrastination. But I'm not lying when I say I've tried everything. I deleted Instagram for a whole year once in pursuit of limiting my distractions completely to become a completely different person. But what I in turn ended up picking up was the habit of Netflix or binging TV shows. That's such a horrible habit. And believe it or not, getting married has helped me to not do that, which I feel like would be counterproductive, but I just married the right woman who doesn't believe in distraction. She makes me a better person in a lot of ways, and that's one of the biggest keys to success, I think, is picking your partners wisely, making sure that they are 100% about the same goals that you have. They want to succeed and see you succeed like themselves. And so, yeah, I picked my partner wisely. But a lot of us don't have that life. And quite frankly, I'm still distracted because she leaves to go to school. I'm at home, I'm self-employed. I've got to figure out my day, got to make sure that I'm productive. And it's a greater motivation because I am married and I have to provide. But some days I don't feel motivated. And that's really hard. That's when it comes, you need like the discipline. Everybody talks about it, but nobody tells you exactly how to develop discipline. Nobody tells you how to develop discipline because at the end of the day, when it comes to distraction, you've got your Instagram Reels, you've got your TikToks, you've got your YouTube Shorts, you've got your Netflix, you've got all of this content designed strictly to keep you hooked, waiting and just fighting for the next good hit. And the funniest thing is you don't remember anything that you watched, right? You don't remember any of that. But it has you doing this motion over and over again, day to day. And actually, it eats away your whole entire life. If you really think about it, Instagram Reels didn't exist until about COVID. That's when people really got hooked. They had nothing else to do, right? So we were kind of forced into that life. And even for me, I wasn't on my phone hardly at all during COVID. I was very productive. I was making over 400 cold calls a day during COVID-19. And I never, ever once scrolled due to the organization I was affiliated with, which I was a missionary. So I had a greater purpose and I didn't want to be scrolling either. I didn't even know that you could scroll because it wasn't a thing before. But what I was saying is that at the end of the day, what stands between you and the life that you really are dreaming for, the life you're striving for, the life you've been working so hard for, it's not Instagram, it's not Netflix, it's not YouTube Shorts, it's not TikTok, it's you. And that's something that I've come to terms with because I quit Instagram for a year. And it helped a lot. You supplement a lot of these things by removing distraction, but what happens when you re-download it? You actually never really solve the problem, so you just reacquire the same issues all over again. And then your life is absolutely miserable. Now you got to come up with all sorts of different plans to fight those distractions, to fight the temptation. And oftentimes you fail. I want to actually solve the problem. I don't think people realize the power they have. We're distracted oftentimes because of laziness. If we weren't lazy, we would actually get things done. That's why. It's all laziness. What you lack is purpose. Quite frankly, time's kind of a distractor in this mess too. You know that you have to be working an hour. So because you have to be at work in an hour, you tend to use that time to waste. So that's creating bad habits. You know, even if it was just an hour, it's created a very poor habit. And so that's something you got to cut out. You got to cut out the in between time when you are distracted, right? And how are you going to do that? You're going to find things to replace it. Like I said, I made a video about how journaling is a perfect tool to remove those distractions from your life, to stop you from being addicted to your phone. And honestly, I think it stops many addictions, because not only is it something to do in your free time when you're bored, but it's also something to evaluate with. It's something to set goals with. And it's like when I'm feeling a certain way, when I'm feeling tempted, when I'm feeling worried, if I'm feeling sad and I don't really, as a man, I can't communicate that to my wife, because if I do that, I bring down the whole family unit. I collapse the family unit because of my weakness, because I'm having a bad day. A temporary setback is going to cause me to ruin the rest of my wife's day. She's very, very much affected by me, and she's admitted this. So yes, men, you can't be vulnerable. Sadly, you can't be vulnerable. So what do? I go into the journal and I write, and I feel just as good as if I were to go share it with my mom, right? As if I was just venting to a friend. The journal does the same exact thing, and I always feel 100% better, completely better by the end of it. Sometimes I don't, but that's just life. We have hard times and then we get better. We wake up and it's a new day. Granted, we all have different situations. What I'm trying to say is you have 100% control over your setbacks in life. You just haven't found fulfilling things to fill that time with. You haven't found good hobbies. You haven't found good talents that really do help you. This next part of the video is all pre-recorded, right? I gotta go and paint. So I'm gonna show you guys me painting, because that's what my channel's about, but I'm also gonna continue to keep explaining this. And I'm gonna give you guys the full rundown, all of the secrets and the exact method that is literally going to change your life, promise, hands down. So I've broken this up into a couple of different points for you guys, and that is 1, 2, and 3. How average? Starting with the what. So number 1, you have to establish what's actually eating your time, aka what's standing between you and your goals. I've already kind of talked about this. It's Facebook, believe it or not. It's YouTube Shorts. It's Instagram Reels. It's TikTok. And I'm not totally saying I'm not prohibiting YouTube and content as a whole. I'm prohibiting short-term content, because short-term content viewers are short-term people, which means they can never ever do anything for the full amount of time. They only stay for the short amount of time. They live their life in increments, which you can't really get far in increments. There's no get rich quick scheme. There's no change your life in a day scheme. All of it is just, it's a scheme. That's what it is. That's literally what it is. It's a scam. You can't trust any quick solution. So yeah, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Netflix, these longer videos for educational purposes only, as long as it's not distracting you and wasting your time, and as long as you're not doing it within the time that you've set aside for working, which I'll get onto a little bit more, then you're doing good. So then, yeah, establish what is eating your time, what's holding you back from achieving your goals. And then you want to establish what their purpose is. That's also a part of number 1. Their purpose is to keep you consuming. That's what I wrote down. It's as simple as that. It's all in the name of entertainment, which sounds pretty harmless. And when you consume, it just makes them more money. That's what they get out of it. But then if you actually think about it, what does that actually put them in the business of? Actually think about that. What does it actually put them in the business of? By designing their platforms to keep you engaged, they divert your time and energy away from the things that matter most, away from your growth, away from your goals, all for their financial gain. And what does that make you? It makes you livestock. Now you want to establish number 2. Why? Establish, why do you consume these things? Why do you consume Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts? Why do you consume these things? I can surely admit that when I was consuming these things, I never remembered what I was even watching. In fact, I don't think there's a single reel I can even think of off the top of my mind that has ever impacted me. Besides these weird, like, hippie, holistic food tutorials, which I love. And the main reason why you consume these things is you have time without purpose. That's what I wrote down. You just have time without purpose. And it's an act of laziness. You use that time without purpose to excuse yourself from doing what's more important because, hey, I don't really feel like it right now. I'm going to give myself a little rest and relax day, a little R&R. Because I've been working so hard. Oh my gosh, I've been working really hard at my job. So you give yourself a little R&R, which, sometimes that is deserved, but there's time for that. There's a time and a place, and we're going to talk about that later. Okay, 3, solution. The solution is in step 3. Find meaningful activities. So the things that are going to build your creativity. So for me, I'm an artist, I'm Gabe the painter, so I paint. Or I'll hop in my journal. I journal all the time. I write everything down here. I wrote this whole entire video idea down in my journal. Or I'll work on a business, etc. You kind of find it yourself. But if it's building your creativity, ultimately that is the key to your success and keeping you away from distraction. These build your creativity, scrolling numbs your spirit. Now I have a couple bonus, 3 steps for the bonus as far as resetting your life, because if you're going to be setting these new habits, you also need to reset your life. Otherwise, things only go so far. So step 1 to resetting your life, delete all of your distractive apps. And you want to do this preferably not forever, because we're not trying to completely remove them from our lives. We're trying to find ways to be more disciplined when we do use them. So you delete it for 1 to 2 weeks, and that's all it takes. This will give you enough time to feel how much better life is without these distractions, how much more you're able to accomplish. And then after those 2 weeks, we move into step 2. Step 2 to resetting your life, you want to set up pattern interruptions. When you have a pattern interruption, it will cause your mind to think elsewhere. It's going to distract you from the distractions. It's going to make you feel like your life has changed, and it's going to feel like that overnight, right? Obviously, these temptations are still there. They're still going to try and creep in as you get used to this new configuration. But I'm going to talk about some techniques and tips while doing this. So you've just downloaded Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts again. All of it's all back on your phone. It's still a temptation. So you want to start with the pattern interruption of reorganizing your phone. So you do this by putting everything in folders, separate folders for different things. Your utilities, your entrepreneurial center, right? You want your research tab, right? You want, like with your Safari, your Yandex, your anything that has to do with research, your education, your fitness tab. You want all of these different things so that way, when you go on your phone, everything's already organized and you only want one page. That's what I've done on my phone. I'll show you the screen share. Now, when it comes to the apps that are distractive, like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, what I want you to do is delete those from your phone. Not from your phone, but from your home screen. On your Apple phone, if you have an Apple, and I'm pretty sure you have that on Samsung as well, where you can remove it from the home page so you don't see it at all. All you want to be able to see is those files. So that way, if you do want to go on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, you have to physically think about, what is my purpose? Is it for education? Is it to, watch Gabe the painter? Is it to build my business, right? So you have to physically look it up. And as you're looking it up, you know that you have a purpose. Otherwise, you don't really think about it that much. And I think that's super effective. Regardless, you're still going to end up on Instagram and you might end up scrolling by accident. And that's where you just have to be disciplined enough to tell yourself, oh, whoa, I've scrolled enough. I'm done. No more. And you just have to swipe off. Those first 2 weeks without social media is going to help you a lot with getting in that mindset. Next pattern interruption, you want to set aside 1 to 2 days for rest. So Sunday, you're going to rest. You're not going to think about anything else. You're not going to work. You're just going to rest. It's set apart for a reason in all cultures and all religions. For a reason, not all religions, but most. And then you're going to want 1 extra day. So for me, it's Thursdays. And Thursday, you're not completely prohibiting. This middle day isn't completely prohibiting you from work. You want to work a little bit. You want to get some work done at least, if you have an hour and a half to spare, do it, right? Or however much you feel inspired to do. But overall, give yourself that time to relax, to play some games, to watch a movie, to kind of get all those wiggles out. Maybe go on an adventure, right? If you have 1 adventure a week, then you have so much more to talk to people about. There's ways to improve your life just like that. So just find those methods right away, and it's going to improve your life already a ton. And it's going to make you a lot more productive, keep you from burnout, and it'll keep you focused on the task at hand. Believe it or not, life is not just about the hustle. Okay, and the third pattern interruption is clean your space. Make sure your house is clean, your car's clean, and preferably do this all before Sunday so that by Sunday, you're resting in a perfectly clean house. It's gonna give you those nostalgic feelings. You'll feel that. And I'm like, why am I getting these? It's because of that. And then as the week continues, it's a new week. That's a huge pattern interruption. You're going to start producing as if you are a new person. Last but not least, the third and final step to changing your life forever is tracking your success. So the way I do this is I write a letter to my future self at least 6 to 12 months from the point or the day that you wrote that letter. So in this letter, I'm going to tell you guys what I wrote in here. You're going to ask questions to yourself like, have you honored your commitment? Have you been half-hearted? Have you been doing this on the short term? Have you been doing this on a short-term mind? Are you doing this with all of your heart or some of it? Did you make more excuses to waste time to compensate for your laziness? Next, you want to state everything you want. Everything you want in your life and exactly where you are at this current moment. You want to use trackable metrics like, for example, how much money you have from month 1 to month 12 or month 6, etc. The other thing would be for me, I track how many subscribers do I have, right? Or how many paintings did I sell? You want to make sure that it's something you can track, but also something that you can see major growth with, because success is what fuels more success. Success breeds success upon itself. Just make it so you know if you've succeeded or not. Lastly, get personal. Give yourself the gratitude for taking the hard path for your future self so that you in the future can be free. Talk about the things that you really desire, the way you want to feel in 6 to 12 months, the way you want to be experiencing life in 6 to 12 months. I promise you the miracles happen, and they happen exactly on those dates. And there's nothing that couldn't bring you closer to God. There's nothing that could bring you closer to God than realizing how much he's done for you. And writing yourself a future letter helps a lot with that. I'll tell you what, in my life, I've written a lot of letters to my future self. I had a habit of doing this every 6 months. I've had some that last a whole entire year. And what I saw in result was miracles I never knew existed. Seeing that exactly on the date that I wrote that I wanted to be married, well, maybe I was married. Now, that didn't exactly happen, but I'll tell you what, I had a dream car I wanted so badly, and exactly on the week that I wrote that I was going to have it, the exact color, everything like that, the exact model, I had it. And that all came from an act of faith. And not just faith, but hope. Hope is just as important. When you don't have enough faith, hope is just as sufficient and will give you that faith. My name is Gabe the Painter. I'm so thankful you guys clicked on this video. I tried offering the most value I possibly could, and in the future, I'm going to be starting to release some free courses on this as well. Now, I do have a call to action before you guys click away. I want you guys to list some of your ideas. What keeps you productive when it's been really, really hard in your life? Thank you guys so much. My name is Gabe the Painter, as I said, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.